Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is me ranking all 22 Stephen King books I have read so far. So this is going to be a journey and there's going to be probably some unpopular opinions on my rankings, so please don't come for me. This is just my personal opinion and my reading experience. So let's dive in. The first one is The Institute. Chef's Kiss, that book. I will never not bang on about that book, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but I absolutely love it. I think the characters are so good, even the villains are done so well. And it's just so tense and fast paced and I love it, so that's why. And then The Shining, second favourite Stephen King book. Incredible, read it if you haven't. We have The Stand, ranking at number 3. Incredible. I've read it in November and I keep banging on about it, so I'm sorry. Then the fourth one is Desperation, another fantastic book. So dramatic and tense. I love tense books, if you hadn't guessed. Fifth Stephen King book is Salem's Lot. This ranks at number 5. Again, this is a classic, so if you haven't read it, what are you doing? Number 6 is Firestarter. I read this in the summer and I spoke about how good it is. It's kind of got the Institute vibes, but obviously this came first, so the Institute has Firestarter vibes. So I really wish they did, I really wish Stephen King did like a little crossover with the Institute and Firestarter, because that could have been really good. Number 7 is Misery, and this is a little short one for King. So the film is a good adaptation of this. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen the film to this. So this is good for the fact that the villain is just a normal person, a nurse that is crazy. A lot of people don't like this because it does actually have the book he's writing on, it has segments in here, so a lot of people don't enjoy that multimedia part of the book, but I think it's good. It immerses you into it. We have Doctor Sleep, and I think this is just as good as The Shining. Danny as a character is just so good and I love him. He's one of my favourite characters in the Stephen King universe. It's nice to see him grown up, and it's interesting because he thinks he's his dad, but he isn't when he goes through his issues. He's a lovable character and I like him and Abra. I think they make such a cool team. So that ranks at number 8. At 9 we have Mr. Mercedes, and this is part of a trilogy, the Bill Hodges trilogy, and I thought this was really good. It was a really good crime novel for Stephen King. It was the first time I believe he wrote a crime novel, but I could be wrong. But I really loved it. I thought it was well written and Bill Hodges as a character was so lovable, and the plot was clever and good, and that's all I've got to say. And 10 we have End of Watch, which is the 3rd book in the Bill Hodges trilogy. End of Watch was, I could have ranked it a little lower, but I did enjoy a lot of aspects about it. The supernatural part of it kind of was unexpected and felt a little bit weird for Stephen King, but no, I did enjoy it. The ending was really sad, it made me cry, but I'm giving you no spoilers. 11 we have Cell, and a lot of people don't like this. I can see why people don't like this, but I like the journey in this, but also the ending. The ending was, it made me feel sick. If you haven't read this and let me know what you think about the ending, because Stephen King is known for his killing a book with his endings, but this ending made me feel sick. This was a good ending. Just thinking about it makes me feel ill. Coming in at 12 we have Pet Sematary, and I read this in October as part of a read along that I hosted along with Hannah, and I see why this is a lot of people's favourite book. For me it felt very slow, but I still enjoyed it, which is why it's my 12th ranked book. And the fact that the horror in this is to do with grief, which is a very scary aspect. I mean, a lot of us, it's easy for us to say we wouldn't do that if we weren't in that situation, but crazy. Maybe I would have done it for my cat because I adore my cat, but I don't think I'd brought a person back to life. Much to think about. Coming in at 13, we have Carrie, and this is a short read. I read this in April in literally one sit, and I think I just read it in the bath. A lot of people don't like this and a lot of people do. I think a lot of people don't like it. I don't know why. Well, stuff for me, I really did enjoy it. I liked that there was multimedia throughout, so there was like interviews and newspaper articles. I thought that was cool. I like that when books, when they include other material, if that makes sense. 14, we have The Colorado Kid. I do have a bit of a soft spot for this book because this was my first King novel. Nice short one, told from a person's point of view, I think. It was a case. I think they were talking about the case and they were solving it as they were speaking about it. I can't remember. It was my first King book, but it has a soft spot in my King journey, so that ranks at 14. At 15, we have Dolores Claiborne. Dolores Claiborne. This one's interesting. This has no chapters. Carrie doesn't have chapters either. So this one is told all in a interrogation room by Dolores herself, speaking about her life and the reason why she ended up in an interrogation room for what she did. For me, I know this is a lot of people's favourites if they've read it. This was a 3-star for me. I really enjoyed it, but I think because it didn't have chapters, it was very hard to put down and pick up because I always like to stop at a chapter. I don't know if anyone else has that problem. So for me, I did enjoy the story. The story was really intriguing, but again, it was a bit slow to start with, and there were some characters in it that I didn't like. I didn't gel with them. But Dolores as a main character, she was really good, and she was a very strong woman. But it was sad to read about the things that did happen to her. At 16, we have Elevation. Elevation was a little short book. I think it's like 100 and something pages. It's got a nice meaning behind it, that friends are like family. It's very short. I read it in one sitting, I think, but it's not one that sticks with me, if that makes sense. But it's a good book to start with if you've never read King before, because it's a nice short one and it's not long-winded and it's not super descriptive. I think that was like his latest one before The Institute came out. Could be wrong, but it's a solid story, but it's not a typical King book. At 17, we have The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. I think for me, I didn't gel with this very much because I have no idea about baseball, and the main character is obsessed with Tom Gordon and he's a baseball player, I believe. I just thought it could have been really good for me, but I think it fell a bit flat, especially that ending. That ending was really like, okay. So it wasn't one of my favourite books, but I'm glad I read it because it's one to tick off the King stats. So that came in at 17. 18, we have Finders Keepers, and I was really confused by this book. I actually started reading Ender Watch before I realised, oh shit, I was meant to be reading Finders Keepers. I got a bit confused with the what order things went in. So End of Watch linked more to the first one than the second one did. The second one was really strange. It still had the same characters in it, but it was just a bit strange because nothing felt like it flowed, and it didn't really need to be there. It could have been a standalone. Standalone would have been fine. It just felt a bit weird to be in that trilogy, if that makes sense. So that comes in at 18. At 19, we have The Regulators, and like I said, this is a parallel universe to Desperation, and for me Desperation was incredible, fast paced. It was what is going on, things were just going 80 miles an hour and so good. Whereas this, there was something missing. There was just something missing. I didn't vibe with it. I couldn't separate desperation, so when the characters had things change with different relationships with people, I was getting confused. I think this would have been done a lot better if the characters had changed. If the characters were different, I think it would have worked more and I would have enjoyed it more. It's because I already knew the characters and I was getting confused with their different relationships, and it just wasn't for me. So I think if the characters were new, then I think it would have worked better, and I probably would have ranked it higher. But because of that, I just couldn't separate it. 20, we have Revival. I really didn't vibe with this. I didn't care for any of the characters. The main character I just had no connection with. I couldn't like it, and I was super excited for the ending because everyone's like, oh my god, the ending. Everyone says the ending's so good, makes them feel sick. I read the ending and I was like, okay. I was like, did I read it right? And I reread it and reread it and I was like, no, I just don't like it. There was just something missing. I don't know what it was. It just felt boring and just a bit flat, and it didn't feel like a King book for me. Just not for me. Not for me. So that's 20. Then 21, this is an unpopular opinion. We have The Outsider. A lot of people love The Outsider, and I know The Outsider is the book that a lot of people got into King with, but I was just like, ugh. I was expecting it to be really good from all the hype, and it was kind of linked to the Bill Hodges trilogy because it had one of the characters in it, but it was just so strange. It could have been this really good murder mystery, but it turned into like this supernatural thing with vampires, and I just felt it felt a bit forced. It just felt a bit unnecessary and unneeded. So I ranked that 2 stars. So now on to the last one. 22 books I've read from Stephen King so far, and this is the one that I've ranked bottom, and I feel like a lot of people are going to come for me, but also I feel like a lot of people already know what it is. Just remember, this is my opinion. So coming in at 22, at the bottom of the pile from all the Stephen King books I've read so far, please don't murder me or my family. I have a lot of thoughts about this book. It didn't need to be published. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like I have to be careful what I say about it because it is a lot of Stephen King's fans' favourite book, which just confused me a little because he's written so many good books. I'm sorry, that's just my personal opinion. If you love it, good for you, good for you, good for you. Just not for me. I know few people have asked me to do a review of it, but I feel like I would have to reread the whole book to do a proper review, but I don't think I want to read that book again. I think one time is enough for me. I mean, this is 1300 pages as well. Maybe it's something I'll have to do. A sacrifice I will make to do a review on why I don't like it. If you want that, let me know. If you want to put me through that torture, let me know. It's a cute copy though, isn't it? It's just not a good book, in my opinion. I feel like I have to keep saying in my opinion, otherwise I'm gonna get hung by the Stephen King fandom. So, thanks for watching this video, watching me ranking all these books. I'm sorry if I've done any of your favourites dirty. That was not my intention. This is just my King journey so far, and the books I loved and the books I didn't love. So let me know in the comments below if I've done your favourites dirty, or maybe you feel the same way as me. I'd love to hear either way. So thank you for watching.